The Utah Mammoth is sorta proud to present NashCast.
What the is a NashCast?
NashCast, the only hockey show on the planet. Hosted by a human speed bag, fourth line wannabe, healthy scratch, schnozzy moto, Tyson Nash.
Who the hell is Tyson Nash?
Never heard of him.
And the baritone with a brain, the velvet hammer, Mr. Silky, Tono Suave, the radio voice of your Utah Mammoth,
Code Blue!
Mike Folta.
Oh, Captain, my Captain!
NashCast begins now.
Ready for takeoff.
Here's Tyler Ganoush and Mickey Foghorn. Wait, what? Oh, here's Tyson Nash and Mike Folta.
Feeling good, Fulsey. Holy, it's good to be back once again. So much on the docket that we want to get to. Amazing interviews, just the Olympic break, time off for you. I'm sure you got a Mai Tai right near that couch. I can promise you, I know it's close by, but still well deserved. All the guys on their breaks. Olympics about to start. I cannot wait. I'm bellied up on the couch. It seems like all day long, every day, Fultz. Watching the Winter Olympics, there's nothing like it, buddy.
Yeah, great to kick back a little bit here during break. We got the obviously the Olympics going on. To be honest with you, I am not watching any of it these couple days. I'm here south of the border for a couple days. I can see the ocean through my window right now. Like, I'll record the bobsledding and watch it later. I'm going to watch hockey, obviously. That starts, basically the men, the women have already started. The men, get it going on Wednesday. But I'm going to leave my Olympic watching until after I get back stateside. But yeah, a little R&R on the coast of somewhere beautiful right now. So this is probably a last time that I'm going to be calling in from vacation, because after these couple weeks, it's going to be a full sprint. We're not there yet, and so it's a little breather. But Tyson, we got the Americans, the men's American team. Clayton Keller starting up on Thursday against Latvia, and then they go. I think it's Latvia, Denmark, Germany. Thursday, Friday, Saturday games in three straight days. So you have to think that they mix up the lineup a little bit, right? And I know that I think Keller started practices taking line rushes as maybe the 13th or 14th forward, but you got to think that they get kind of everybody involved these first few games.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know. I mean, I'm obviously not Billy Guerin. I'm not in Billy Guerin's shoes. I think that they want to get the team up and running as fast as they possibly can. I mean, this tournament is going to come and go in a blink of an eye. So I don't think they want to tinker too much. I think with the way that they're starting is what they believe is their best opportunity to win, right? But you need depth. Everyone's not going to stay healthy. There's a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. There will be some guys that struggle, that you got healthy bodies like a Clayton Keller, if in fact he finds himself on the outside looking in that first game. But I would think that they are going to have to use all their players at some point, because this is, as you mentioned, an absolute war, an absolute sprint, and I cannot wait. But this is all happening too. You're pretty mysterious, Fultz, with where you're at, what's going on. It's Valentine's Day, right around the corner. We got Valentine's. I mean, well, what is your plan? What's going on, Mr. Lance Romance?
Hey, I'm down at a resort. Get this, I'm down at a resort, and the first couple people that I met were both Canadian and were both Edmonton Oilers fans. What? Apparently, at the resort I'm at, there's a bunch of Canadians, and I saw a Quebec license plate on the drive over from the airport. So there's going to be a lot of hockey watching here at the resort the next couple of days. I just reached into my pocket and I pulled out. I think it's okay to show this. Yeah, I pulled out a flyer that they gave me for a oceanside beach massage. So I might be headed to one of these beach shacks for a massage, and who knows how that's going to end up. Probably get fleeced or something like that, you know. But yeah, it's a fun expedition down here, that's for sure. But a lot of hockey fans, which I don't say it surprises me, but it's not like what you expect when you go somewhere tropical, right? To be talking about, the Edmonton Oilers and, Evan Bouchard running the power play.
Wow. The Canadians, right? They're all scared to come down to America, so they go elsewhere, right? So it's hockey fans are hockey fans, and if you're Canadian, let's be honest. I mean, you got two best players in the world in Edmonton, so of course you're gonna want to watch those guys. But it's been crazy down here in Arizona too. Full, I'm feeling you. There was probably about at the Waste Management Open. It is the biggest party in America for the 6 or 7 days that this thing goes on. It took another step this year. I was there, probably a little overserved as well, but there had to have been about 60 NHL players at the event, at the concerts, partying on hole number 16, 17, 18, just because of the Olympic break, right? So if the guys aren't in the Olympics, where do they come? They come to Arizona. They had a ton of fun. I can't say enough about it. But speaking of fun, I mean, our interviews, right? I mean, they were absolutely unbelievable. Logan Cooley coming on the show under the circumstances was just second to none. When we get a Mammoth player on and a Mammoth player of Logan Cooley's stature, where he's at, how he's healing, things are progressing, his timeline of when he's going to possibly be back, which isn't soon enough. But on top of all of that, just his excitement with where the team's at, what the team has done without him and other injured guys in the lineup, what it's going to mean to the team when they do come back healthy, and most importantly, where they're at in the playoff fight, which is exactly where they wanted to be, Folds, at the start of the year.
Yeah, and we kind of keep hitting these benchmarks, right? Like the first one's American Thanksgiving. Okay, you want to be in the mix by then. Then by Christmas, okay, you want to be in the mix. And then by Olympic break, you want to be in a playoff spot. And the Mammoth kind of keep checking these boxes as we go along. And we mentioned this stat, I think, but last year, 14 of the 16 teams that were in playoff spots by the Four Nations break did make the playoff. The only ones that did not were the Detroit Red Wings and the Vancouver Canucks, which were the two, like they were in that second wild card spot when we broke for the Four Nations break last year. But if you you look at the standings this year, and Tyson, we know it's so close, but the Mammoth to have one of those wild card spots right now, and then with the knowledge that you get Logan Cooley back, right, or you're supposed to get him back at the end of this Olympic break, that's huge. That's huge because you think that your roster is going to get better, and that's like a trade deadline acquisition hitting your lineup. It's going to be a huge jolt of energy, and team in a great spot. It's not crazy. Like 4 years from now, when we're doing this again for the next Olympics, Tyson, like if Logan Cooley plays, continues along the trajectory that he's currently on, like he'll be an Olympian for Team USA, wouldn't you think? Or at least be very much in that conversation because he'll be, 24, 25 years old. Maybe he's a 70, 80 point guy with that type of speed. Like, that's not crazy at all to think that he could be very much in the mix for Team USA.
1,000%. Yeah, for me, it's not even a question. Like, not even a question. I think if he would have stayed healthy this year, I think he could be there. Right. So unfortunately, the injury kept him out of the conversation. But you look at what he did, the World Championships last year, he was the best player. I mean, him and Clayton Keller were 1 and 2 through the entire tournament. Right. So he's certainly on that radar, probably a little bit premature. And, you look at some of the names on that Team USA list. I mean, they're getting a little long on the tooth. 4 years from now, when the next one hits, Logan Cooley is going to be in prime position to take over that team. And I think he could be a guy that literally could take over for that team up front offensively. So much positives. The only negative I will say is the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? That was the biggest joke of a football game I have ever seen in my life. First of all, I'm pissed because my Chiefs had the worst year imaginable. Anything that could go wrong went
My
wrong.
Chiefs. Here we go.
So I'm a little bitter about that, Fultz, but I hate both those teams. I cannot stand Seattle for a million different reasons. I did bet on them though, and won, so I'll take the positive with that. But what did New England have? Like 3 or 4 first downs? 3 or 4 first downs in the entire game. I'm like, I'd rather watch paint dry, which was pretty much exactly what we were watching.
Growing up, I hated the Patriots because they would always beat my Indianapolis Colts, and so I loved rooting against the Patriots and just watching them squirm, watching their fans squirm was great. It was not the most entertaining Super Bowl, that's for sure. Haven't seen like a bunch of like the commercials. What happened to the Super Bowl commercials? They used to be like slapstick funny, and now I don't see any that really are that like thought provoking or funny. I mean, you pay like $7 or $8 million for one of these 30-second spots, right? I would think that we get some comedy.
Yeah, I was with you. I was saying the same thing. I don't know. Everything's so politicized now, and just I just make me laugh. I turn on my TV because I want to watch great football, which we didn't get. And then to your point, we didn't get the great commercials that we're typically used to. So I'm a little bit Debbie Downer right now, but I'm excited now. The Olympics are right around the corner. Men's hockey, women's hockey. I can't get enough of it. When that stuff comes on, at the end of the day, no matter what we do for a living, which we're so blessed to do, we're hockey fans, folks. We are hockey fans to the utmost degree. I cannot wait. I still think Team USA is going to be close this year, but Team Canada, sadly, I think is going to do it once again, folks.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more Olympics. We've got a couple of interviews to get here today. First, let's get to American Logan Cooley and his conversation with you, Tyson, about getting back to it after dealing with injury this last few months.
All right, we're here with the man. 8 more years with this stud right here, number 92 on this jersey, number 1 in the program. Logan Cooley. Cools, how we doing, buddy? How you feeling?
Good, yeah, feeling a lot better. It's good to be, with you guys and, gearing up to get back here pretty soon.
Nothing worse. Yeah. Nothing worse than watching these games. Team's doing well. How difficult has this been on you?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you want the team to have success, obviously, and every player hates being out. It's no fun being up in the stands, but I'm glad that they're doing well. Obviously, we're trying to push for the playoffs, and hopefully, I could come back and contribute.
Nice.
Huge win the other night. Matthew Barnaby, I played in Pittsburgh. Guy's probably your favorite player over Marrier, over Sydney, but you're too young. So
just know this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Growing up in Pittsburgh, how was it that the hockey has absolutely exploded, especially since I left? And from your age, you guys are like the next generation that really propelled Pittsburgh hockey, really.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think, the fans there are so passionate. It's such a sports town in general. And I think obviously with Sid and, what they've done on their run there, winning those cups, it brought a lot of people into the game. And me growing up, I'm fortunate enough to skate with JT Miller, Trocheck, Gibson, who's out there now. And just guys that, play in the NHL. And it was obviously my dream to play in the NHL one day. And they kind of showed me the way. And, it's only going to continue to grow. And there's a lot of up-and-coming, guys playing college, juniors that, you're going to be hearing their names soon, too.
You grew up in the Crosby program, right?
Yep.
But he wasn't your favorite player. It was Patrick Kane, wasn't it?
No, it was actually Ovi.
It was Ovi?
Yeah, big Capitals fan growing up, but
how does that work, first of all?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm telling Sid.
No, I don't know. I just loved Washington growing up. They were always super skilled, like Kuznetsov, Backstrom, Oshie, those guys that I like to watch, and I love seeing goals scored, and Ovi was doing a lot of that, so just kind of fell in love with them. And but yeah, I shouldn't probably say that anymore.
I know you're out. You're going to be coming back hopefully right after the break. Olympic year, Clayton's going. I coached Clayton growing up. Great kid. Nick
He still made it, even though he was his coach.
Nick DeSimone, by the way, you can still tell him at 52. I can still kick his ass on the ice. But You're going to be an Olympian at some point in the next Olympics, and beyond that. You're a young kid, great skilled player. How much do you look forward to in the future being a part of the Olympic program, playing for the U.S. development team? Just how much pride would you have to represent your country?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that'd be a huge honor. I was fortunate to play for the national team development program. I just remember putting on that USA jersey. There's truly no better feeling than representing your country, especially on a world stage. I was fortunate to win, the Worlds last summer, and it's just an honor. I think you create a bond with those guys too. Seeing Kels and the other guys are going to represent their country. It makes you kind of hungry to want to be in their shoes eventually and want to represent your country on a world stage, and that's definitely my goal to have in the future.
What was that experience like for you at the World Championships? That was a big moment, obviously, for you. You're a big contributor. I think you you led the team, or you're close to.
Yeah, it's awesome. We had such a great group too. I think going over to Worlds after a long year, it could kind of be tough, and I'm sure a lot of guys kind of don't want to do it, but I think when you commit to eventually doing it, you go over there to actually win. There's a lot of stuff going on, being in different countries, guys going out, little things like that. But I think when it comes down to it, you go over there to win, and obviously U.S. hasn't done it in, I think, 92 years. So to be a part of some history and win it was definitely a pretty cool experience.
We're hoping there's a sequel to the miracle. It's been 45 years, and how do you think Team USA is going to do? I mean, there's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
I think there's a big question mark in Caulfield still. You played with him in the U.S. development program, I believe, right? So
he was a couple years older, but obviously watched and know his game a lot. But yeah, I mean, I think they're going to do really well. There's so many great countries over there. Canada's obviously stacked, and I think U.S., this is their year to, I think, do it. Goaltending is unbelievable. Defense, is unbelievable. And I think it's going to be cool to see, just the Olympics in general. It's been a while since we've seen best on best. And, it's going to be cool to kind of be a fan and watch it. But hopefully next time around, I'm there playing.
You jumping on the PJ tomorrow after Cabo?
No, I'm actually going home for a little bit, just going to continue to skate and work out, and I got to come back here early, so make sure I'm in shape to.
You're a skilled guy. You got to show the camera and the people. That is the ugliest knob I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't play street hockey with that thing.
it's like a goalie's knob.
It's awful.
I know. I mean, I think if you look at like Adam Fox and a couple other guys, Stone, it's a lot bigger than mine. But I actually used to use kind of a skinny knob. Like I'd only go around a couple times in college, and I think my first year too, I used it actually, and I felt my hand would slip. And I feel like when I caught the puck, like my hand kept slipping off too. So I tried it last summer. Actually taped it. And it felt nice. I feel like I control the puck.
That
a little
felt
more,
nice?
and yeah, I mean, I keep my hand like right around here, so it's kind of just sitting there.
So it just gradually gets to that.
Yeah, and
Bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like my hand didn't slip as much. Shot felt better, and hands feel a little bit better too.
Well, it seems to be working. Maybe that was my problem. I needed a bigger knob.
We needed right-handed sticks.
You're not touching
I needed a shovel.
What do you think of this one? Look at
I would
this.
have been one of the ice girls in Chicago in between. Use one of those. Actually, we went there as a Halloween costume one year as the ice girls. That was the best thing I've ever done in hockey.
Talk about the Mammoth. Just where you guys are right now. You're in the playoff spot, the first wild card. Where the team's at, how good this team can really be. Ultimately, playoffs is the conversation.
Yeah, it's cool to see. I think we're out of that rebuild phase. It's no fun, just going in, trying to get draft picks, little things like that. But I think this year, just how competitive of a group we have too, and it's cool to see the success we're having, like you said, in a playoff spot, and there's still a lot of hockey left, so we gotta, make sure we're doing our thing. But I think for us too, me personally, I don't want to just get to the playoffs. You want to win in the playoffs too, and you're not going there just play in the first round and exit. So I think we have a hungry group and a team that wants to go far in the playoffs too.
I haven't been to the practice rink, but I heard it's absolutely unreal. And how nice does it feel not to have to wear a suit? You come in your Dolce & Gabbana hat on backwards. We were wearing Morgs and a tip-top suit.
I couldn't afford that. I can tell you that.
No, it's awesome. I mean, I think wearing a suit, no one really sees you too. You wear it for 5 minutes, then it's off, and just traveling too, you're so much more comfier, and it's easy to kind of packed for road trips. You don't just throw the white shirt in there, and
Yeah.
it looks like you just ran through. I don't even know, but yeah, it's nice. I like it. There's some guys that still stay with the suits that don't have the best style. But, no, but
They
it's
got the
nice.
white shirts.
Yeah,
Anyone that wears a
exactly.
white shirt, but uh-oh.
Yeah, this guy right here.
Yeah.
His style is next level, right?
Yeah, I
mean,
don't-
that's a head shaker, right?
I don't even know what to comment on that, but people seem to love it, so I'll leave it at that.
Talk about what just happened with Patrick Kane. I mean, it was Mike McDaniel forever, best American-born player to ever play the game. Now he's been passed by Patrick Kane. Just how remarkable that is.
Yeah, it's awesome. My favorite player growing up was obviously Ovi, but watching Kaner too as a young American, lefty, a smaller guy, just to see what he's done for the game of hockey, and when the Blackhawks were in their prime, they seemed to be unstoppable, and he's won cups, he's a winner, he's done just about everything he can in this game, and for him to pass, it's special to see, and just at his age too, he's had a few injuries and he's still, produced and found ways. So it's definitely pretty cool to see.
You progress every year as a player, and you were off to a great start before the injury. You're going to come back, you're going to kill it, but define yourself as a player. Like, what do you identify as a player first and foremost?
Yeah, I mean, I think speed and edge work is a big thing for me. I've always been pretty fast growing up, but I think over the years of coming to the NHL, I've really started to kind of get to that next level of using my speed. And I think a big thing for me is, when I probably first came in, I was always just go, go, go. But I think, I'm starting to learn when to use it, when not to use it. I think you see guys like McDavid, and they really know when to use their speed and when to take advantage of defenders flat-footed. So there's always stuff that you're learning and that I'm trying to learn watching other guys around the league. But yeah, I mean, there's still, I'm still young. It's my third year and still learning a lot. But I think that's a big thing that, I use in my game.
I talked to Marty St. Louis the other day. I know you probably watched him growing up back in the day. He talked about the ceiling, right? We don't worry about the ceiling. We want players to rise, have their floor rise up, because you only get the ceiling 1 out of 8, 10 games. But the floor is what you kind of get consistently, right? And that's kind of been your game to a T, your 200-foot game. You're working on it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think as a center, like everyone, you want to be that number one center, and it's not just offensively. You got to be good defensively. Whether that's having a good stick, D-zone draws, that's a big thing for me that I'm working on. Is face-offs, obviously, and guys are so strong. They have so many different techniques that I don't even know, to be honest. And so I think adding that two-way game, obviously offensively I still want to get better, but there's little things defensively that could really kind of separate you. And when you're good defensively, then your minutes go up, and that allows you to start playing offense and produce that way too.
I was going to say, you played 1 year at college, you had a great year, and then you turn pro, and progressively you see young kids. It's about consistency and defensive systems and being aware defensively, because you're playing the best players in the world. Was that the biggest adjustment from coming from college and pretty well dominating to go into the NHL and finding your niche and how to get more minutes right away? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I remember my first year coming in. You got Ovi one night, Sid the next night, McDavid the following on a back-to-back. So it's, you start to learn how to play in this league. It obviously took me, a while. I'm still not even close to being where I want to be yet. But, I mean, I think, like you said, consistency, everyone wants to be consistent in everything they do. And, that's the hardest thing to do. That's why, guys like McDavid are at where they are, because, they've pretty much mastered that. And so I think I'm always working on consistency, being at my best every night. There's nights that and you do too, that you're not going to feel great, and just finding ways to still, if your A game's not there, make sure you have a really good B game, and that's the biggest thing that I'm kind of adding into my game. And it's not just physically too, it's mentally being ready, and it's a grind of a season, and coming from college, played 40 games, and you're done, and you come to the league, play 82 games, and it's mentally draining, but I think over the past couple of years, I'm starting to get used to it.
Okay, this is my last one for you, but what do you rate these green pants of Barney's here? I mean, how bad would he get worked in the locker room with that? I mean, he put the sock in the back, it's got to go in the front.
The only one that's going to working in the room is O'Brien's. I feel pretty good. It's not going to be Clayton, I can tell you that. Like, not bad, eh?
No, I like him. I mean,
He lost a bet or something, right?
Little slim fit for a 52-year-old fat guy.
Never seen a back with a crack, right? Lake effect. He's not going to get in with those pants, I don't think. But thanks, buddy. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey,
Thank
good luck,
you.
man.
Yeah.
Come back strong.
Yep, we'll do.
Enjoy the
Appreciate
break.
it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Folks, I love it. I cannot wait to see the progression of your tan as we go along. Like right now, I can't tell the difference between your white golf shirt and your skin tone right now. I, on the other hand, am a little bit different. Yeah, and the walls, like you're just blending right in right now. If it wasn't for that couch.
Well, I made a terrible mistake. I forgot to bring sunscreen, which is a joke because I need it more than any other person here. And I got rinsed for like $30 at the resort market for like a bottle of SPF. So the wallet's a little lighter after that. But thank you to Logan Cooley for sitting down with us. It's just good to see the guy, Tyson. Like, it's just good to see him. We haven't seen him at all. He has been skating a little bit with the team recently, a couple practices right before we broke for the Olympics. But gosh, like, you're just not seeing him every day, and you forget, like, oh yeah, we have, like, you know, our most dynamic offensive player that's been out. So excited to get him back, and you know, and he'll be rested too, right? Like, everybody has had, you know, a few weeks because of the Olympic break. Cooley's had a few months, so he's going to be chomping at the bit.
Oh, he was. And you know what was great? He was just so excited to be in the studio doing NashCast. Matthew Barnaby was there, a guy that obviously Cooley grew up in Pittsburgh. Matthew Barnaby played a ton in Pittsburgh for the Penguins, along with Mary Lemieux and all the great stars that were made up of the Penguins and all their success over the years. But there was a jump in Cooley's step. You could feel it. You know, but he was also honest, upfront and honest about the fact that he's been real frustrated watching. There's nothing worse as a hockey player to sit on the sidelines and watch your team either lose or have success. And right now, thank goodness, the Mammoth is having a ton of success. So he's going to step right in. You talked about it, that he's going to be like just a massive boost, you know, and a shot in the arm for a team. You know, it's like making a massive trade and getting a guy like Cooley back in your lineup with all the energy, all the speed, just how dynamic he is, what he means to the power play, all the things, right? So Cools was great. I also forgot, he gave us a little bit of a demo on the stick he uses, the stick flex he uses, and the knob of his stick. He uses a stick with a giant knob. And I couldn't believe it because I'm like, how can you have hands? And he's basically using a goalie's knob stick, right? Goalies' knobs are so big because they like to poke check, right? And the poke check, the stick doesn't end up sliding right up your hand and gets caught on the knob. But for a skilled player like Cooley, it was pretty fascinating, you know, how he explained it, why he uses it, why he likes it. So, again, thanks to Cools for taking the time. I know the fans in Utah, he is the talk of the town, and as he should be.
Hopefully we see him in 4 years with Team USA at the Winter Olympics. But this year's Team USA named their captain to be Austin Matthews. On the Canadian side, Sidney Crosby. No surprise there, I guess, really, for either one, Tyson. But this is me giving you an olive branch in the middle of rivalry between U.S. and Canada. What does Sidney Crosby mean to, like, national Canadian pride? Because obviously he's had those big moments. He's like Mr. Canada, basically, is what it looks like from the outside. But as a Canadian, like, what does he mean to just the national team, but Canadian hockey as a whole?
Well, what he's done for the game, right? I mean, first of all, he gets drafted to the Penguins, a team that was on the outside looking in. I mean, they were ready to shut their doors. They were going bankrupt. All of a sudden, Crosby comes to town and everything, and I mean everything, was resurrected. And that franchise is what it is because of Crosby. And he's won at every level, on every stage. The bigger the game, the better this guy plays. We've seen it over the years in Team Canada. with the Penguins as well, 4 nations. And the biggest, I mean, it's about respect, right? And this guy has earned it in spades. You could say maybe McDavid, it's his turn, or a McKinnon. Bless you, brother. God bless you. But it's still Crosby's team.
I held it in for you. I held it in.
Can you imagine if I sneezed with this, Shaz? Holy jeez. Anyway, I think it's magical. I cannot wait. That C looks awfully good on his jersey, and it's so well earned. So I can't wait to see what Canada has in store. Who they start in goal, I think, is the biggest question mark for both Team USA and Team Canada. So, but more for Team Canada. I can't wait to see what drops.
If you're watching or listening to this Wednesday, the Canadians are playing the Czech Republic to start off pool play on Wednesday. That is going to be a great matchup because that Czech team is no joke. You got David Pastrnak, Marty Necas, but then in goal could be Karel Vejmelka in net. Not sure who's going to get the starting nod. Expecting it to be either Vejmelka or Lukáš Dostal, the number 1 for Team Czechia. So a lot to watch over in Milan for sure. But Nasher, do you want to get to our second interview here? We have a great, like totally kind of 180 type interview compared to what we had with Cools and a lot of times what we normally do. But Brantt Myhres is our second guest today.
Yeah, and Zan Schultz. And this guy is, first of all, as good as it gets. I idolized Brantt growing up. He was a year or two older than I was, and he was ahead of the curve. He was in the NHL. He got drafted in the 5th round of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he was doing all the things, as well as I was playing against him in juniors when I was 16 and 17. And this guy was terrorizing the league. And I mean terrorizing the league. They didn't come any tougher than Brantt Myhres. He's a big lefty, 6'5", 240 pounds, and he was pounding guys. He set a record as a 16-year-old in the CHL, not just the WHL, the CHL for fighting majors. Set another record as a 17-year-old in the CHL once again. There was nothing this guy couldn't do. We used to go to bars back in the day, folks, and we would get in bar fights together in the parking lot. I remember him picking up, you go to a movie theater and they got the ropes with the big metal, anchors or whatever to keep the ropes up. He literally grabbed this thing and was pounding one of the bouncers, right into his face. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? I had the biggest black eye I've ever got in my entire life, from taking a punch from the side of the head or something. It was like World War II. We thought we ran the city. We were out at the bars. That you're legal at 18, right? That's the difference in Alberta and in Canada. Is the U.S. it's 21, there it's 18. So anyway, Brantt tells all the stories. His Mustang, convertible Mustang, he gave me a ride in it back in the day. And then obviously his story, and you touched on it a little bit. It's an amazing one because it's the fall, right? It's the rise and fall of his career in the National Hockey League, his struggles with alcohol abuse, just everything, fighting, suspensions. He's the only player in the National Hockey League to ever have a lifetime ban. Think of that. Think of all the characters that have ran through this league over the years, and he is the only one to ever have that happen. But his rock bottom, he talks about that, and then he talks about his rise, his son, his daughter, his podcast, and his new beverage that is out on the market. It is called Unhammered, along with his book that he wrote. His book is called Painkiller. So if you haven't read it, you have to read it. It's an amazing story, and it's Brantt Myhres' journey, right? Everyone has a journey, and his, man, it was the highs and lows, but he overcame it. It's an unbelievable interview.
This is an absolute legend, right? The WHL, he set a record at 16, a record at 17 for fighting majors in the entire CHL, I believe. The National Hockey League, the American Hockey League, the IHL. This guy literally did it all, and he still looks as pretty as ever. Look at that filthy stash. Brantt, welcome to the show, my brother.
Hey, Barney, I've never met you. How you doing, pal?
I'm good. I follow all your stuff on social. I know you went to Denny's. You were crushing Denny's, whether it was today or yesterday. And
Bro, that was not my grandson. That was my boy, by the way.
that's true.
That mustache is pretty great.
My Lord.
You could hear our audio in the studio. Right? When you heard the other story, I apologize.
Hey, I gotta ask you, for such a tough guy, what's going on in your background right there? You got the mood lighting. Do you have a lucky lady over there, or what's?
Buddy, I was always a lover. You know that, boys. I was always a lover.
Dude, I love it. I love it. So, Brantt, you were telling me, we talked on the phone the other day, you had not a run-in. Apparently, you guys never fought before. Barnaby fought everybody, and so did you.
Yep.
But your first meeting in warm-up, was it in warm-up, the start of the game? Was it a face-off? You lined up against Barty when you were in Tampa, I believe.
Yeah, I was stretching on the red line, and Barney comes up. This was 1997 or 98, and I just said, "Hey, buddy, how you doing tonight?" And he gets, as he's standing there, he's got two different skates on. He's got a Nike, and it must have been a CCM.
It was a CCM, yeah.
And I'll never forget that. I'm like, this guy is such a rock star. It's unbelievable. He's got two wheels on.
You know what? I went through like 2 years where I had like one foot that like pronated in, so like I couldn't like turn to the right, like my edges didn't actually go. So I was like,
no wonder, eh, Brantt?
it wasn't the skates. Here's what I know: it wasn't the skates. So I decided
It's like Forrest Gump.
just
I
go
love
straight,
it.
but not as good at ping pong. But yeah, no, I was smart enough. I fought a lot of the heavyweights, but I was smart enough to stay away from Brantt because, listen, there's a couple of guys you knew you were going to get destroyed by, and he was one of those guys, and he was tough as nails. And we can go back to your junior career. Just take us through your journey to get to the NHL, because it's pretty remarkable.
Well, I owe all of that to my dad, Bob. God rest his soul. But he told me when I was 17 in my draft year that I had to lead the whole Canadian Hockey League in fighting majors. And I said, "Really, Dad? Like, how about any goals in there?" He's like, "None." So I went and I had 42 fights that year as a 17-year-old, and my dad was right. I got drafted. And then, I went to camp, and as you know, Barney, you were a way better player than I was, and you, Nasher. But once I got sort of pigeonholed in that role, it was really tough to get out of, especially in the mid-90s when the game was completely different. And so I basically did that. And my last year junior was actually really nice. I actually was on the first line, and I got to play some hockey. And I was with Valerie Bure and another guy. And anyways, my point is that it was nice. I only had 8 fights that year, I think, my last year junior. And then once you get into the NHL and the minors, then it's right back to the 3 minutes a night, so.
Unreal. I mean, look at your stats. You could play, but talk about that 1 year. Is that Lethbridge where you had the 40 majors as a 17-year-old?
Yeah, I got traded from Portland to Lethbridge. And my dad said to me the last game against the Medicine Hat Tigers, he said, "Son, you're 5 minutes away from breaking a record as the most penalty minutes for a 17-year-old. So I went out and asked the guy, Cam Daniluk, if he'd give me one go, so I'd pass the penalty minute record by a couple that night. And but that was just so, as Barney knows, and the Warriors that both of you guys are, we would have done anything it took, even wear 2 different skates.
It's funny you say that, being pigeonholed, because I was cut at 15. I was cut at 16 in Bantam and midget, and I was the last overall pick in junior in the Quebec League. And I always say the Western Hockey League, tough as nails, and the Quebec League, back in the day, Gino Ojek, Sandy McCarthy. I mean, you list the plethora of guys that played in that league at that time. It was absolutely insane. And I had a year where I had 476 minutes, 448 minutes, and you get pigeonholed into that coming up through. My last year I was fortunate, like you. I played on the top line and had 111 points. Everything went well that year. But then you get to the NHL and you're like, okay, now Pat LaFontaine, Alexander McGillney, Dale Howardchuk is on the power play. Matthew Barnaby, like Sesame Street, one of these things do not belong. I was the thing that did not belong, and you try to find your way, right? And like you did, I did, we did, everyone's a good junior player, and then you try to find yourself and how you stick with the NHL, right?
Right. 1,000%.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Barney, we never met until tonight, but as Tyson said, you were one guy that I looked at and I looked up to, and I hated playing against Buffalo because, my Lord, you guys had the toughest teams all the time. It felt like you had what's his name, Bugner on the and then Maisie and Razy and you, and it just felt like every time we played Buff. But then again, there's probably there was 20 teams back then that when you went in that night, you knew you were getting ready to go, and I wish I had some more guys. Well, in Philly we had Dan Kordick and Daniel Lacroix on our fourth line. And so it was nice to have some backup from another heavyweight, So crazy times back then, boys.
So, Mizey, you go into Buffalo. I mean, we had it in St. Louis. It was the race for Chase because we had Tony Twist. Yeah. Was it the race for Barney, or was it the race for Maisie? Because no one wanted to fight Rob Ray. I can promise you that.
Well, you know what, too? The scary thing about Rob and Barney didn't do this, and I don't think Maisie did it that often, but is when he came out of his jersey, I mean, a lot of guys back in the mid-'90s weren't tying down, and as soon as you come out of that jersey, it was almost impossible to win a fight, And then the rule came in, and things changed a little bit, but no, the thing with Barney is, let's say you fought Barney and you did okay, or maybe you got the upper hand. I mean, they were such a close team that the next shift somebody was tapping you on the shin pads, and that's just how it was back then.
The big thing about our team back then was, and if you look at the correlation between my stats of scoring, my third year, I think I had 19 goals, whatever it may be. We had Rob Ray, Brad May, by far the two toughest guys on our team. Then we had myself, and then we had.
You gotta walk into this.
That is disgusting. That is.
Look at the neck on Rob Ray. Even if you hit that head, you couldn't hurt it.
Look at the head. Head, pants, now. It looks like an orange.
Human head weighs 8 pounds. How much did that weigh?
It looks like an orange with a toothpick on it. It's awful. But the correlation between my points and playing well had to do with those two guys. And you said it best, is it's nothing better than having two guys that are tougher than you, that are willing to do it. And then we had Brent Hughes and Bob Bugner and guys along the way that also were willing to do it. So I thank them for some success that I had early on. And then when I went to Pittsburgh, I was the only guy that fought. And my point total dropped because you're looking over your shoulder, and Brantt Myhres is coming, Tony Twist is coming, Stu Grimsons is coming. You're like, okay, now how do I play knowing that at any second I have to fight the toughest guy? When I was in Buffalo, I got the third or fourth toughest guy.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It was great.
But Barney, here's why your name's gonna live on forever is because you went out and fought a guy like Grimson. Knowing exactly probably the outcome of that fight, and I watched it the other night, and it was your heart, and it was your tenacity, and it was probably your will to make sure that your teammates were taken care of, and that's to me what stood out more than anything for you for your career is that probably I would have loved to have you on my wing, and I'm sure a lot of players could say that about you.
Oh, Mizey, we got a goal here. We got to go. Utah, they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. This is a must-win for them. And they're playing the worst team in the National Hockey League. Just no life. 0 life on that Canucks bench. So
they are horrible.
You got to pound
these guys. They are a horrible hockey team. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I watch them a lot, too, and I love Adam Foote. But, yeah, they're a bad hockey team in every aspect of the word. Great goal, great passing play. Tic-tac-toe.
Oh, yeah. Nick Schmaltz, no points for Clayton Keller in the last 4 games, 1 in his last 5 for Nick Schmaltz. That doesn't happen very often. So we've all been through slumps. My whole career, Mizey, was a scoring slump.
We're slump. I'd love to say we're slump busters, but maybe off the ice. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, when you look at your points, you guys, both of you, it's pretty remarkable on how many. Like, if you were to look at your points today and your penalty minutes, you guys would be making 10 bananas a year.
I don't know about 10, but
no, you would. You know you would. You'd be in the 8 million for sure.
Mizey, I got to ask you, though, like, along the same lines as Barney, like, I mean, you had to go into these buildings every night and face the toughest guy, whether it was the American League, junior, as a 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old. I mean, how did you manage the anxiety of that? Or were you more than comfortable doing it? I mean, some guys loved it and lived for it, but I shit my pants literally every time I played.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, I think I was conditioned early, thank God. I was conditioned as a 16-year-old to be that type of warrior as a teenager. So when I got to the minors and I got to the NHL, yeah, when I fought Tony Twist at 19, that thank God I was sort of young and stupid. You know, I went in swinging hard. But for the most part, my worst injuries, you know, probably, actually, it's crazy. The last fight I ever had was against George Larocque. It was in 2006 or 5. And that's the worst one I've ever been hurt out of over 200 tilts. Like, wow. So the last one is the one that rocked me. This one, he broke my jaw. And actually, I didn't want to say anything to the trainers that I couldn't eat after the game so that they'd keep me in the lineup. But yeah, he cracked my jaw that night for sure.
Tony Twist or George?
Twister that night when I was 19. Yeah, he hit hard, boy.
Oh, join the club. I remember one night he fought Rob Ray and like caved his whole face in.
That was because of me.
Oh, what a surprise.
Literally in warm-up, I'm going across the red line, and I'm like just crossing, and Twister's like, you going to be running around tonight? I go, yeah, I will. Running around, hitting everything in sight. You know, one thing comes to another, and he's like, you want to go? I'm like, no. Ted Nolan's like, okay, Razor, you take care of him. He breaks his orbital bone. Like, he hits him so hard, blew his nose, his little eye socket
in the penalty
was
box.
Out. Yeah. And then Twister actually came into our room and talked to me. He's like, I'm sorry, man. Like, that wasn't meant for you, whatever. Razor was so pissed off at me. So pissed off, missed 8 weeks. Yeah, like, he was a no-go. For me, it was Twister and Joey Kosher. Those were the only 2 no-goes I had in the league. I didn't care what I did or what I said, what they said. It was a no-go because I played at 188 to 192 pounds, and I wasn't fighting those guys. Anyone else, I was like, okay, I'll fight Stu, I'll fight George, whoever it may be. But those 2 I knew with one punch, I might not enjoy my pasta at Chef's in Buffalo. So,
did you fight Boogie?
I never did because I made him a bet. When he was in Minnesota, he was chasing me around. And he's like, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, I'll make you a deal. We've all heard the story. If you can skate down and back without falling twice, I'll fight you.
No way.
And he chased me around. Thank God I didn't fight him because I was another heavyweight. God rest his soul. We've lost so many over the years. But he should have been on the list. He wasn't on the list, but he should have been on the list. But I didn't play him very often. A lot of guys in the Western Conference, I just didn't play them very often. So, you know, the Joey Koshers, the Tony Twist, when I see them a lot, and Hey, Barney, I wanted to say congratulations on your book, buddy. I know the process that takes, not only time-wise but emotionally as you're writing it. And I just want to congratulate you on that. And you did an awesome job, man. So congrats. Thanks. You as well. We were talking about it before. It's a long process when you go through something like that, right? And you've done it. And I think emotionally is the hardest part about doing it. Reflecting, self-reflecting, and you have to dig deep if you want to give someone and be completely transparent and honest with people. That's the hardest part, right? Like, because there's a lot of apologies that go into everything. None of us are perfect. We make mistakes, and certainly that was the hardest part of the book. Is especially, my kids are 27, 24. I had apologies to make along the way, and I thought that was the hardest part of the book. But thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely.
Mizey, again, your story, and you know, I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but I know your story is amazing. Your journey, I've watched you, especially in the last 5 years, just how you handle yourself. But I also kind of grew up with you, and you know, I idolized you at times. You're an Edmonton boy, as I was. But again, I think, you know, I've been through more counseling than I think anybody has in a lifetime. And I'm glad I did.
Is it because of your hair?
Yeah, my hair, the chin strap. This is a new toupee I just had made. It's an old XL7.
Yeah, the XL7.
But I know you went literally through hell and back. So wherever you want to start it out, go for it, man.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for the NHLPA. I mean, I went into my first treatment center after the Philadelphia Flyer year, and then at that point there was a 4-stage count, and then stage 5 was the lights were out. It was a lifetime ban, and anyways, they kept hanging with me and thinking that I was going to change. My last suspension was stage 4, so that was a full year suspension from the NHL with no pay, and then I had to get reinstated by Mr. Bettman, and which I did. And Daryl Sutter gave me a contract in Calgary. And when my face got smashed in from George, I was done emotionally, spiritually. I was done fighting, I think, fighting everything, and I sort of gave up and went into a dark period for about 2 years, and then I got arrested on February 17th, 2008. It was like the best thing that ever happened to me. And they called and said, hey, you want to go, you ready to go on a plane for long-term treatment? I said, yes. I said, I'm having a baby being born in a week. I said, when am I going to come home? They said, it doesn't matter if you don't go on that flight, Brantt. She's not going to have a dad. And so I jumped on the bird and I went away for 8 months, inpatient. And I came out and they told me to go to an AA meeting every day for 1 year. And I did that as I was sleeping in a friend's basement, and I had no money left, and my car was repoed, and I had nowhere to go. But I knew if I stayed sober 1 day at a time, my life was going to get better. That's what I did know. And so I did that. And then I started a company in Calgary, and in 2015, the LA Kings had some issues off the ice, and Lombardi called me, and I flew to LA and worked with the team for 3 years there. And then I got an offer from Penguin Random House to write about it. So I wrote a book in 2020 or 21, and then started this beverage called Unhammered.
I love it. We need a pallet of that down here, buddy. And there's the book, Painkiller. It is unbelievable. It's your entire story. I haven't read the entire thing, but I read a number of chapters, and it is powerful. It is powerful.
Thank you, buddy.
What you went through, you know, the every day, right? I mean, the fight. But you talked a lot about too. You were in Portland as a junior hockey player, where the drinking age was 21, and then kind of really where it picked up for you was when you got traded to Canada, when the drinking age now became 18, and alcohol was 50 cents or 75 cents for a highball, and that's kind of where things started to go sideways for you.
Yeah, those god dang country bars, eh, boys? They get you every time. They had 50-cent highballs back then, so I'd order 100 of them at last call. And but you know, it was a way for me, and I don't know about too many other tough guys that really love to do that role of punching guys in the face. And I found for me, I needed a reward system. So if I knew I was going to fight that night, and we were on the road with the boys or whatever, I knew that I had to do something at the start of the game to get my reward system after the game. And I loved hanging out with the boys so much that I'm like, okay, I'm going to get in a scrap here early or two, and then after I'm going to go out and just have an absolute blast, and not think about having to play Buffalo tomorrow with Barnaby and Ray and these guys. They're going to want to go as well. So it almost felt like you were like a hamster on the wheel, and you just couldn't get off, you know, back in those days.
I was going to say, how much do you attribute it to how you did it? Because we did that, and we know the pressures, and it's not like being an accountant and going and having the pressure of doing numbers. You have the pressure of going and knowing your face might get broken in at any point the next day, and there's 3-4 guys on that team, whether it's Buffalo or Detroit or St. Louis, whoever it may be, and it's every single night. Like the night before the games for me, like Nasher said today, because I feel like I'm playing in the National Hockey League again, I'm taking a 2-hour nap before the game. I'm like, I never napped in the afternoon because I attributed a nap to knowing in 2 hours I have to fight. So that's when I got nervous. Once I got to the rink, I was never, ever, ever nervous. And I didn't mind fighting. It was the afternoons that really bothered me.
Yeah, those afternoon so-called pregame naps, that didn't work for me either.
No.
And but again, I sort of shut off the anxiety meter at that point. Once I walked into the arena, I was getting paid good money to do a job, and I liked it better if somebody sort of roughed up my teammates, where it was I didn't really think twice about it. But when it was sort of pre-planned, I had a hard time sleeping the night prior. And but again, you know, especially like I liked alcohol, but when I tried cocaine at 24, it took it to a whole new level. And and then you know, I'm the type of guy that whether it's craft dinner or what ice cream, I'm eating all of it, you know. And
imagine if you had that problem with this nose, Myhres. Oh, jeez. Thank goodness. It would take Frosty the Snowman.
Pablo Escobar would have loved you, bro.
You're the only guy that could have bankrupted Pablo Escobar.
That was my last contract. It was either $1 million or a nose full of nickels. You know what I took.
I love it.
I love it. Myhres, I got to tell the story. I haven't told Barney yet, but like again, you're an Edmonton guy. I'll never forget. You came back from Tampa, I believe, and you had this Mustang, convertible Mustang. And I looked up to you because you were in the National Hockey League. You were drafted by the Tampa Bay Lightning in the 5th round. And we came out from Parkland Arena, I'll never forget, just like drooling over this car of yours. And you stuffed me and Mike Dubinsky. You're like, boys, get in the back, let's go for a rip. And I think we were going, it was a gravel road. We were going like 200 kilometers an hour down this gravel road in this car. I was scared out of my mind, but yet at the same time, I wanted to be cool, right? I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Brantt Myhres, the frosted tips, 6'5" tough guy, and I'm hanging out with him. I was in heaven, man.
Well, and you got to remember, I don't know what your guys' first contract was, but mine in Tampa was 175 US. And I thought that was, Roman Hammerluck was making 300, and I thought he was just going to be rich forever. And so at 175, you know, the first thing you want to do is buy yourself a nice car, right? And but looking back, boy, oh boy, it's I had some angels looking out after me because whether it was the gravel roads late at night or, you know, too many pops, I should have never been behind the wheel.
Hockey for me, Myhres, was a release. I had a tough childhood, to say the least. I know, I'm sure you did as well. We all do, right? And it comes back as you get older, right? Stuff that happens when you're a kid or whatever the case may be. But was hockey always kind of an outlet for you to kind of release some of that anger and pain that maybe you're going through as a kid?
Yeah, that's a good question, Nasher. I think when I wrote the book, I looked at it as I wasn't protected when I was a child. So my grandparents raised me since the age of, I think it was 7 or 8, because there was physical abuse going on. And so I never grew up with my mom or my dad. But so I wasn't really protected. But so when I got into the role of being the protector, I really liked that. I really like protecting people. And looking back at it, it makes sense now. You know, that's why I'd get so pissed off when somebody would touch my teammates. Yeah. You know, I didn't like people taking advantage of people. And so it sort of comes full circle when you really think about it.
It's funny you guys bring that up because I think we're a lot different but same. I never knew my dad growing up, but I had a great childhood. I had my mother, my brother, my grandmother that were amazing to me. Never knew my dad until I signed a pro contract. Oh my God, I got a phone call. Someone's calling me to see how well I'm doing. Wow. But yeah, I think we're along that same way. We like to protect people, and I think that's why we love our children so much. And you know, that's what, you know, forms you. You know, is your childhood, whether it be good or whether it be bad, or whether you're spoiled or whether you aren't, and then you come out on the other side and you are who you are. But we all have learning curves. We've all made mistakes. It is what it is. But yeah, I think we're all on the same boat on that one.
Do you guys think that when we broke into the league in the late 90s or mid 90s, or I know Barney was maybe a year, but how much the game's changed? Like, it's wild that like you can see a team at home getting beat 8-1 and like not even a roughing pen. Could you imagine back in the day getting beat like as soon as it's 3-0, the boys are coming over the boards, right? Like let alone 8-1 at home.
I would nap like, well right now. I would
sleep like a baby.
I would literally be a Teletubby sleeping in the afternoon.
Buddy, yeah, you'd be like 28% body fat.
Oh my!
Oh, that was Danny Kordick.
He ate too. Yeah. You buckled him.
Yeah, but you know what? Again, back to the code. We played Philly in Philly the next week, and if you pull up the next one, woo, it was a doozy. We went hard at each other, and funny enough, I got traded to the Flyers that summer, and me and Cords were best buddies.
No way.
Yeah.
Weren't you hanging around with Big E too? I mean, I can't imagine you 6'5". What was he? 6'6"? 6'7"?
He was 6'5". He was my roommate in New York for 3 years.
Oh my God! Can you imagine these two?
So Barney knows him really well. Obviously, he roomed with him, but Big E was 25 and I was 24, and we were both single. And I remember when Bobby Clark called me in the office and said, "Hey, Myhres, I see that you're going out with E a lot." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know, I like going out for dinners and stuff." And he said, "Listen, I'll break it down." He said, "He's making $8 million, you're making $400,000. He's like, "Who do you think's leaving?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "So if I catch you drinking again, Brantt, I'm going to release you from the team." And I was thinking, I'll be smart about this. So the game ends. I got my suit on. I go to this dive bar after the game in Philly. I got this fedora hat on. I'm in a corner all by myself with this girl, right? Thinking nobody's going to see me. The next day I get to the rink and there's a note saying, "See Bobby Clark." And I walk up into his office and he said, "So where were you last night?" And I said, "Oh, nowhere." I said, "I grabbed a bite to eat and went home." He's like, "Oh yeah?" He's like, "Our head scout was sitting having a beer at this bar and he noticed you in the corner." I said, "Oh no." He goes, "So remember I said I was going to release you?" He goes, "Yeah, you're on waivers. You're going down."
Oh,
and that was it.
No way.
Yeah.
Myhres, I think the legend and the measuring stick is always Bob Probert, right? I mean,
Proby.
I don't know if you ever fought him, but we got one hell of a picture of you of him, and the guy is legendary. God rest his soul.
Do you know him? Do you know him, Barney?
I met him a couple times. I almost made the worst mistake of my life with Brad May. We were in a bar in Chicago. We were playing them in the afternoon, and we made a bet in the bar trying to impress some girls. $500, whoever fights Proby first. We're on a line together, and first shift, I go after Proby. I'm like, let's go. Drop my gloves. Maisie gets in the middle, kind of jumps in. We all kind of fall to the ground.
He wanted the 500, Maisie. The tight ass.
He's a tight ass, cheap bastard. We all go to the penalty box, and we get in there, whatever. Maisie, I'm like, "Maisie, let me fight him, whatever." Get out. We're a little hungover, right? We went out. It was an afternoon game. Next shift, Maisie goes after him. I jump in the middle. There's like 4 of us. We're all wrestling around. Dave Manson's there. We all fall to the ground. All go to the penalty box. Proby looks over. He goes, "You two are idiots." He goes, "I'm going to kill you both." He goes, "I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to kill you both." I look at Maisie and go, "Do we really need the $500? So neither of us ever fought him. Thank goodness. The best to ever do it. Amazing.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
He was the best. When I flipped a Harley that one night, I never had a motorcycle license, and he said, "Oh, Myhres, don't worry about it. I'll put it on my card. Just get me back later." So I said, well, how are we getting to the Harley store? And he goes, jump on the back. So there's me and Bob. I'm doubling on this Harley, going down to rent a bike on the back. Hey, there's 6'4" guys, 230 pounds, doubling down the highway.
You got the pressed ham in his back.
And then anyway, so I got in an accident that night with it. I flipped the bike and totaled the motorcycle, and I showed up at Malibu Chicken the next day, and he comes out, and the handlebars are all dented and all this stuff, and he's like, Myhres, what happened to the bike? And I'm like, Proby, there was construction going on. I hit a slice of gravel and she went down. He goes, we'll talk about this later. So,
wow.
It was crazy. Wow. Great guy, though. Great guy.
Another guy I got to ask you about, Myhres, is your best buddy, Sheldon Surrey. Obviously, he's up in Idaho with us. You always are there visiting. Your relationship, your bond, just what does he mean to you, and how has he helped you through your journey?
Yeah, it's funny. We grew up near each other, and he distanced himself from me when he went to Montreal and Edmonton. I was on a bad path, and then when I was in LA working for the Kings, we got together again, and we built a real tight bond through sobriety. And he's got a little boy now. I'm actually flying with my son Kane to Vegas in a couple weeks to take him for his 5th birthday, and Sheldon's little guy, Oliver, he's a little over 2. So it's just wild that God said, hey, at 47, we're going to give you a couple more kids here, guys.
That thing still works. It's like a sewing machine, eh?
It won't work for me unless it's magic.
Yeah. So he's such a great guy. And like I said, there's certain friends that you have that if they call you, you're on a flight the next day, or you're staying extra days if they need you. And, we've just built a pretty tight bond between each other.
Wow.
I fought him a bunch of times.
Surrey?
Oh, tough bastard.
Oh.
Tough,
yeah,
strong.
Big lefty. Or
yeah,
both. He throws both, sort of.
So strong.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
He's a handsome bastard,
yeah,
too.
Oh, yeah. It's not even fair.
Good-looking guy.
He's got it all. Both these guys. Can you imagine him going out back in the day?
Oh,
it was Ezzy's. It was Fast Eddie's. It was the Thunderdome where we grew up. In fact, I got to tell a funny story, Myhres. So we're at Esmeralda's, right? So after the Mustang story,
bar,
a few weeks later, again, I see Myhres. I'm like, oh, Brantt Myhres is at Esmeralda's. He just bought like a couple trays of drinks. It's like $20 for the whole tray. I thought you were the biggest wheel ever. Anyway, all hell breaks loose in the bar. And he's like, Nasher, we need your help. Let's go. Everyone's running out into the parking lot. I get outside. I see Brantt, like in the movie theater, the big steel thing with the ropes on it. He's got this thing, and he's smashing the bouncer's head in with this thing, and I'm like,
he
oh my
started
God.
it.
And I get clocked from the side just because I'm a bystander. They know I'm a hockey player. I had a black eye for, I swear to God, a month because of this fight. You, Dennis Pinfold, and a few of your buddies, but I was like, it was the coolest thing ever. I fought with Brantt Myhres.
You started that, Nasher, no?
Probably. Let me guess, it had something to do with girls.
It's so dumb, but every Friday, Saturday, even in Ottawa, because there was like the French and English, it was every Friday, Saturday was like fight night outside of the bar after. So dumb. Dumb.
Well, it was ladies' night, Brantt. Was it not? Every night it seemed like it was ladies' night somewhere.
Yeah, if it was Tuesday, it was Ezzy's. Yeah, ladies' night. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we had no chance when him and Surrey walked in. 6'5".
Oh, come on, buddy.
Couple man rockets.
You were lucky. You met your angel wife pretty early on, Nasher.
Yeah, she won the lottery. She won the lottery. It's weird. Everyone bugs me. They're like, wait a minute.
She tried to give the ticket back a couple times. So.
You played in Kamloops. You could have had Jerome McGinley. You could have had Darcy Tucker. You could have had Shane Doan, Daryl Sador, Scott Niedermayer, and you picked Tyson Nash. That's a losing lottery ticket.
Yeah, but you're still working, bro. There you go. You're still working.
I hear
He's still got the mullet. He's bringing it back. He's got it.
So, Myhres, like hockey, booze, bars and bad decisions, right? I mean, it's kind of, they all follow each other, but your rock bottom, like, how did you know? I mean, I think everyone hits it at some point. What was it for you?
Yeah, it was the night that I got arrested. I don't remember a lot. I blacked out at about, I think, 7 or 8 at night, and then I woke up with a couple policemen on my back in the snow, and they had me handcuffed. And my sister Cher, she was basically screaming and crying, and she said, "Just take him home." And when I went home that night, you know, they talk about a spiritual shift. I woke up and I was sleeping in my vomit from the night before, and my phone was going to get cut off. I didn't have any money to pay it. My life was really, really going downhill quickly. And to me, that was either, you know, get sober, and I didn't know what that looked like again. And thank God for the NHLPA and the league. And Dan Cronin is a guy that worked with me really closely. And thank God for Dan and Dr. Dave and Dr. Brian. And they saved my life, and they gave me an opportunity to rebuild it. And at turning 52 years old, you know, people talk about regrets, and I don't have any. It all led me to this, you know.
Yeah, take us through your everyday now, like how you live. And listen, I know the alumni has helped friends of mine that have only played like 20 games in the league, and they've went to bat, and they've helped a lot of people, which is amazing. Our association, when we played, helped so many people, obviously you, but take us through your everyday now and how grateful you are and just how you live your everyday life.
Yeah, I mean, my son Kane came into my life, I think it's almost 5 years ago now. And, you know, it's pretty cool to have a little human idolize you. And, you know, he grabs my book and he looks at the black eye first off. Oh, daddy owie, you know. And but you know what? I created a non-alcoholic beer. Would have been about a year and a half ago when we released it in Edmonton in September. And so I've been running that now for a little while, and we're doing well. We partnered with Alley Cap Brewery, and we're in 70 locations within Alberta right now, and we're growing. We hope to make it out to a place like Utah, where I don't believe they have any alcohol sales at the arena. So my foot's been on the pedal with being a dad. As you called me, a grandpa, Barney, with my son.
My kids are 27, 24. I'm trying to avoid being a grandpa, so maybe it's my subconscious talking.
Yeah. So I do that, and I skate with the alumni here in Edmonton, and you know, I just listen. If I don't, you know, if I don't stay sober, all this goes away real quick, and I know that about myself. I understand I suffer from a disease that tells me I don't have a disease. It's the only one that tells you that, you know. So I have to be aware that on a daily basis, through meditation and prayer and surrender and all that stuff that I do daily, if I don't do that, I can get sidetracked pretty easily. And so far, so good.
Myhres, tell us again a little bit more of your Unhammered. You had a podcast, but that's gone away. Obviously, you're helping a lot of people, but just, I mean, the can, the skeleton hand. I mean, it is such a good-looking can, man, and it tastes good. The stuff is off the charts good.
Well, thank you. I started actually when I was thinking of a name, my editor said, Brantt, we were going to call your book Unhammered. You know, so why don't you call the beer Unhammered? So I worked with a great graphic designer in California, Melanie, who works for Power Brands, and we came up with a great brand, and I focused really heavily on the quality of the liquid. There's some vitamin D in there, and there's about 65 calories and not a real strong aftertaste. So it's a light, crisp, non-alcoholic beer, and I'm really proud of it.
How long was that process to do?
Yeah, so it takes I started the whole thing 2 years ago, and it takes about 6 months or so to work with brewmasters to get this thing to where I want it. And we had our launch party in September of 2025. And so with everything, it probably takes a year and a half to 2 years to get it into the stores.
Wow. Myhres, the last one for me here before we let you go. Sadly, I could go on all day with you and your story and your journey and your courage and all that stuff. But speaking of courage, your last fight in the National Hockey League, I think you talked about it with George Larocque. I mean,
yeah,
I think it was in preseason, but just kind of walk us through that, how difficult that was. And was that the end? Did you know it was the end?
Oh, yeah. No, when I get up here and I grab my eye right there, it didn't feel right. And so when I went to the hotel that night or the next morning, they said, Brantt, you need to go see a surgeon right away. And what happened was my eye was starting to sink back. There was no floor. It happened to Rob Ray too. And so anyways, once the doctor came in and told me that, Brantt, you know, you're done fighting, we're going to put a mesh plate in there. It was the first time I felt relief.
No way.
I'm like, I'm finally done. I'm finally done fighting after being, 16 years old to 33. And now it's over. I'm never, ever dropping the gloves again. Until I played a charity game for Gordie Howe and some kid wanted to fight me about 7 years ago. And I'm like, do I gold this guy? And, so anyways, we squared off at center ice at this charity game, and we threw a few good punches, but I tired out pretty quick, and and then I haven't played in a charity game since. So,
well, we're proud of you, love you. Glad we finally got
buddy.
to meet. I'm glad I didn't have to fight you, but your journey's amazing, and so happy you're on the good end right now.
Yeah.
And just enjoy life, man. Cheers.
Yeah, love you guys too. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, Myhres, thanks again for always sharing your story, being the poster boy for the National Hockey League. I know you get a lifetime ban, but you've done so much good for so many people. And I really hope, I know we talked about this at length, I really hope the National Hockey League starts getting a guy like you, like a Tutu, that can help individual teams, because we know everyone, there's a lot of us that suffer in silence, right? And I think that's important. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I obviously think that, there's never there never can be too much of something for somebody when it comes to mental health. And they pay a lot of money and they pay a lot of attention to a lot of different programs in the NHL. And I just think they're from Tutu to McGrattan to Richard Clune. I mean, you can go down the list with guys that left the game and that are sober and in recovery that could help, So maybe there's a GM out there that wants to be proactive like Lombardi was and take the initiative.
Absolutely. Love it, buddy. Thank you. We love you, man.
Thanks, guys.
Keep fighting a good fight. Yeah, unhammered, baby. Let's go. Let's get it down to Utah. Well, folks, there you have it. Didn't disappoint. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, I just want to double down for Brantt Myhres. First of all, taking the time to come on the show. An unreal guest, so well spoken. His story, his journey, his book, Painkiller. If you haven't seen it, pick up a copy. It's also in audio. And his new beverage, a non-alcoholic beverage. It is extremely tasty. We're trying to get it into Utah, into Salt Lake. I think it'd be a perfect fit. Get it in the building. Non-alcoholic. It's called Unhammered. And again, just his story is just it is as good as it gets. I was crying, I was laughing, but more importantly, just to get that story out, because I think, folks, everyone sees the NHL, even though they're making a ton of money, they're living their dream. It can be a grind, right? The highs and lows, the adversity that comes, the mind games, and just everything that comes along with fame and success and money and how you have to manage it. And some of these kids are so young, right? And I really hope, like the NFL, the NHL gets back into the program and hiring people like Brantt was in LA for the LA Kings to be a voice of reason, to be a sounding board for some of these players, to be able to go to talk to them, right? Without having to go to a GM or a coach,
and kind of ratting yourself out that you're struggling. You're struggling with mental illness. You're struggling with alcohol abuse. You're whatever it is, drugs. Brantt was that guy for the LA Kings, and I think every team needs someone like that. You have nutritionists, you have skills coaches, you have massage therapists, but I think you need that support, and it wouldn't take a lot, but I think it would mean a lot to the players that you have someone to go to that you can trust.
And I don't even know what I'm allowed to say because a lot of teams try to keep this stuff under wraps. But I can say that like the Utah Mammoth have mental skills, mental health resources for players available, and I think most teams do now. I was even in the AHL; there were even teams that had that. So I think that is becoming a lot more standard to have, not even necessarily just like a therapist, but someone who the players can speak to confidentially, like you said, where you're not ratting yourself out, but you can go and get help. And it's good to see that stigma kind of being kicked across not just hockey but all of sports. But good stuff today, Tyson. A couple of good interviews, one very different than the other, but we love them all the same, and that's why we love the show, because we can go any which way you want.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous. And the only way I want to see Team USA go is up, Fultz. I am done. I can't watch The Miracle anymore. As good of a show it is, I say it all the time. Can you guys please win one more time? It's been, 45 years? 1980 was the last time you won. Like, you have the team for it. Can you just put it all together? And more importantly, Clayton Keller's there. I can't wait to watch him and the damage that he does. I hope he gets into a game sooner than later. Karel Vejmelka, I hope he stands on his head. I think he deserves the starting job for his country. No one, I don't think, has more wins in the National Hockey League than Karel Vejmelka. So I hope he gets the start as well. And I'll let you, name some of the other guys that are there.
You got Olli Mata for Team Finland, and then it'll be U.S. Germany. So the Americans will be going up against JJ Peterka and the Germans. I think that's on Saturday. I got my schedule here. Yeah, it's on the 15th. So that's Saturday. So yeah, all great stuff and a ton of hockey that we're going to be watching. I have not yet seen like the Miracle documentary on Netflix, like the Boys of 80, I think it's called, or something like that, about the 1980 U.S. Olympic team, that new doc. I'm saving it. I'm saving that, and I'm saving Miracle for the first play-in game. I'm going to watch one of those before the first pool play game, and then I'm going to watch one of them before a tournament game, hopefully U.S.-Canada in elimination game. So I'm saving those for key moments. I've obviously already seen Miracle a million times, but just to get in the mood, I'm going to wait and play that ahead of one of the matchups.
You're not going to play the World Championships video that they won last year when Connor McDavid was playing in the playoffs, and anyway, I love it.
Oh, here we go. Here we go
for Team USA. They're turning the corner. It's only a matter of time, right? I mean, what is Canada? 30 million people total population. California's got that in their own state, right? So it's a matter of time. I mean, we just keep pumping kids out of Arizona down here. It's happening in LA, in Orange County. I mean, Team USA is in a really good spot. And I don't have time, unfortunately, Fultz, to watch all the documentaries that the Canada's probably put out or should put out, because there would be 10 movies if we talked about all our gold medals. But good luck. Best of luck here.
Well, hey, best of luck to your goaltenders as well. What's the team save percentage? Like 860 for Team Canada? I mean, what a joke. You can't dig up like one goalie over there? Come on. But hey, no, it's going to be great.
I'm going to send that video right there. I'm going to send that little clip of yours right to Binnington right now as we speak. I got him on speed dial, and we'll see if that doesn't fire him up, all right? Seemed to work at Four Nations.
Great. Yeah, he'll turn into prime Dominic Hasek or something like that, but or Marc-Andre Fleury. Choose a Canadian. Marty Brodeur. Nasher, I got to get to the beach, my man. I gotta get out of here. But we'll do this again next week. I'll be a lot tanner or more burnt, but enjoyed it. So thanks for everybody. And remember to follow along on social media at NashCast Official on Instagram. We keep pumping out that content. A lot of great stuff there. So be sure to follow along.